warm-up. Use the remainder theorem to check if x equals -2 is the root of the function. Explain your answer in a statement. So you just want to know what the remainder is. So if the remainder is equal to 0, if the remainder is 0, it's because it is a root. If the remainder is not 0, then it's not a root. That's all. That would not be a root, or it wouldn't, yeah. So you just want to know what the remainder is. Yeah, so the way we did it was just f of what? -2. Yes. This is asking, is x equal -2 a root? Or if you want to put it in factor form, you would add 2, and it would ask, is x plus 2 a factor? That would have been a different question. So it would have been, use the remainder theorem to check if x plus 2 is a factor of the function. So know the difference. So if it would have been x plus 2, then you would have put -2, you would have -2 in here. So, but they're already asking you and telling you x is -2. So let's plug in x equals -2. And we're going to plug it into all that. So what is -2 cubed? -8. Then you got what? -2 squared is +4. 4 times 3 is negative times the negative is a +8 and -12. And you can notice that it will be 0, no? Yes? Because -8 and +8 cancel, 12 and -12 cancel. So the remainder is 0. So the remainder is 0. The remainder is the function of -2. So it is a root. Yes? Makes sense, no? Now, I could have just done it a different way. I could have just used synthetic division if I wanted to, because it doesn't matter how you're doing it. You could have just divided and see if that the remainder is 0. So say I wanted to use this method, x equals -2. You put -2 in the box, and then you put the numbers here, 1, 3, -4, -12, and go through this process. Let's do it this way real quick. I'm going to do it this way. How does it go? Bring down the 1 down to the bottom. We multiply. -2 times 1 is -2. Add. So what is the idea? Is that the remainder is 0. If the remainder is 0, then it is a root of the function. So it's the idea, not the process. Yes? X equals -2 is a root of the polynomial because there was no remainder. Therefore, x plus 2 is a factor of the polynomial. So this is going even beyond the question, because it's asking, use the remainder theorem to check if x equals -2 is a root. It is a root, and on top of that, we're saying that x plus 2 is a factor of the polynomial. You don't have to say this, but that's in addition. All right. So let's go to the lesson of today. Good? All right. So lesson 4G, solving polynomial equations. So find all the zeros of the function. Identify each zero as rational or irrational. So problem number 1. So problem number 1, we're setting this third degree polynomial equal to 0 because we're trying to solve. So if I was, as you guys are writing this down, if I was to graph it, if I was to graph this, just, you don't have to do this, but I'm just so you get an idea of what I'm doing here. You don't have to graph. This is a third degree polynomial. What do third degree polynomials look like on a graph? Anybody? Did I say a sideways S? Did I not say a sideways S when we did lesson 4A? Wasn't it that y equal to x? Didn't we say y is equal to x is a line? It's a line, some kind of line. Y equal to x squared is a what? That is a u. And y equal x to the third is going to be a, flip it, and so it's going to be some sideways S, no? Something like that. But because this is a negative function, it will look something like this, upside down. Okay? So this one is going up like that, from left to right. It would be going like this. So this is what we're looking for. So it's asking, what are the roots? Where does it cross the x-axis? So what if it does? What is this? What is this? And what is this? That's what it's asking. All right. So how do we do this without using graphing calculator? This is what we're gonna do. What's the biggest number that divides evenly into all three of these of these numbers? And the answer is 2, isn't it? 2 going to 2, 2 going to 2, 2 going to 40, no? 2. And if the leading coefficient is negative, you also got to put that negative in front of it. This is where, even with my accelerated gate class, they don't know what a GCF is, and what I'm doing is a GCF. Basically, let me explain what a GCF in terms of the x is going to be. Let me do something here on the side again. If I told you that this is like, instead of this, we had something like this. All right, here's the story. Say it's 3 people. It's me and 2 friends of mine, and we're gonna order pizza. And say I have $100 in my pocket. That's me. And then I have a friend. Let's put a coefficient. And this friend has $50 in his pocket. And then this person has $10 in his pocket. So basically what's going to happen here is that we're all going to pitch in the same, because I'm not that good of a friend, or I'm not stupid, but I'm not going to give $100 to feed those people, because they're my friend, but they're not my best. They're not my kids or anything. So I'm going to give as much as, because I'm rich, I'm going to give as much money as whoever has the least amount. So we're all going to give away how much? We're all going to pay how much? $10. That's the story. It's like, dude, I got more than enough. I got more than you. How much you got? I got 50. Well, I'll give 50. How about the other person? How much you got? 10? We're all going to give. He's like the poorest. We're going to give the poorest, whoever has the least amount. That's GCF. That's all this GCF is. So in terms of the x's. So here, we go over here. How much money does this person have if I go to my story? How much does this person have? $3. How much does this person have? And this person has the greatest is the smallest. That's all. Greatest common factor. So they're all going to give equally an x. That's all GCF is. So it's going to be negative 2x. And we're going to take that out. All right, let's go. Negative 2 divided by negative 2, work this out. What's negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, isn't it? This has 3 x's on top. How many at the bottom? Let's go. There's 3 x's on top for this particular one. He gave away an x. How much does he have left over? What's negative 2 divided by negative 2? 1. It's a positive 1. He had $2, okay? He gave away 1. So he has left over what? 1x, yeah? X to the 1. And this one is going to be 40 divided by negative 2. What's 40 divided by negative 2? Negative 20. He gave away the only dollar he had. Or x divided by x is 1. So that's it. Okay, continue. We set this equal to 0. Let me move the 0 over here. Can we do the x here? You see, let's go. What can we just do? It's a second degree trinomial that maybe if we can factor, we can do the x. What goes at the bottom of the x? What goes at the bottom of the x? This is something you should already know. This is 1. What goes on top?
20.
Negative 20. And now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 20 add up to 1. Two numbers that multiply equal negative 20 add up to 1. 5 and 4. 5 and 4. So 5 and 4. And somebody said negative 4. Yes. Yes. We're solving this equation. Can we do it like the one student 7 years ago? I'm lying that he just said, hey, the answer will be here already. The solutions. X equals what?
5.
It's not 5. Negative 5. Am I going to have to write down the factors then? I guess let's do the whole work. Let's do it. So these are factors that I'm going to write x plus 5. And then this is going to be x minus 4. And then bring down the negative 2x. And then equal to 0. And then we're going to use the zero product property. If x is 0, then 0 times 2, negative 2 is 0. 0 times anything 0, which equals 0. So it better be x equals 0 for this particular one here. If x is 0, 0 times anything will equal 0. For this one, what must I plug in for this x? That it will equal, this quantity will equal to 0. See the same thing as I was saying about negative 5. Because if I plug in x is negative 5, negative 5 plus 5 is 0. 0 times anything 0 equals 0. And here, what we're plugging for x that makes it 0? Positive 4. Because it's going to be x is equal to 4. If I go 4, this is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 times anything is 0. Alright, look. I'm going to show you this graphically. I'm telling you that these are the solutions. 0, negative, 5, and 4. Okay? Hey, one person is going to tell me that this equation, and I'm going to graph y equals this in this graph decimals. All right, I have to get out. I'm going to graph it. Y is equal to? And you tell me negative what?
2x cubed.
Oh, it wasn't negative 2x?
Yeah.
Really? And then what?
Minus 2x squared.
And then what?
Minus 1.
Minus what?
20. Or
Oh.
40. Plus 40. Plus 40.
What was the original?
Oh, yeah.
Plus 40x? Look, this is the solution. Look, solution, look. Look, solution, look. Yes? That's where it crosses the x-axis. Okay. Your turn. Okay, it's asking about rational or irrational. These are rational solutions right here. It's right here, right here. Because I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you what is irrational, but it's three rational solutions. All right, let's go ahead and do number 2. You guys do that one? What's the GCF in terms of numbers? What's the biggest number goes into 3, 27, 24? 3. The smallest is the greatest when it comes to the x's. So it's going to be what? 3x, 3x. 0 equals, divide 3 divided by 3 is 1. Oh, hold on. You put that 3x in the front. Then what? 3 divided by 3 is 1. So x squared. Then what? Minus 9x. Plus 8. And then we do the x if you want. Yeah. Negative 9 at the bottom. 8 on top. So what are the numbers here? Two numbers multiplied to equal 8 add up to negative 9. Is it negative 8 and negative 1? Is it? Negatives on the negatives, the positive 8, and then negative 8 plus negative 1, negative 9. So, can we already do it like that student did 7 years ago? Or do you want to do the whole work? What are the solutions for these two? Isn't it x equals what? Positive 8 and x equals what? Positive 1. And this one's going to be what? 0, no? Because if x is 0, 0 times anything is 0, no? All right. Let's move on. That's it. Continue. I don't have the answers to that. We're just going to move on to the next problem. 3. Let's go to problem number 3. So in the ones we just did, there were 3 terms only. 3 terms. This one has how many terms? 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the method that we're going to use here is different than the method we use in the other 2. What we're going to do is we're going to separate and make 2 problems out of this. So we're going to separate and we're going to kind of make this right here, these 2 a problem, make those 2 a problem. Okay, like Right here. Let's focus on this first right here. All right, and we're going to do the same thing we did in the other one. All right? So what's the GCF? What's the GCF here? All right, so in front of x3, what's the invisible number right there? What's in front right here if it doesn't have a number? 1. So if one of the terms has a number of 1 as a coefficient, automatically 1 is the GCF, because that's the biggest number and the GCF is 1. On top of that, in terms of the x's, what's going to be the GCF? This person has how much money? How much money does this one have? So what? The smallest is the greatest. So the GCF is going to be 1x squared. 1x squared. So let's take out 1x squared. I guess you guys like x squared. I don't need to even put the 1. So that one is going to come out. What is x cubed divided by x squared? X. And what is 3x squared divided by x squared? Is it plus 3? All right, so now we go here. What's the biggest number goes into negative 4 and negative 12? 4, isn't it? Because 4 gets divided by 4 equals 1 for sure. And 4 does go into 12, no? So the GCF is going to be what? Negative. And remember, if this is negative, then you're going to put this one be negative. Negative. I don't even like writing it there, but whatever. All right, so what's going to go be left over inside? What's negative 4 divided by positive 4? Negative. Well. Hold on here a second. I'm dividing by negative 4. Yeah, let's just go. I'm supposed to, if this is negative 4, then I'm going to put negative 4 here. Because I put this negative 4 here. All right, that's why. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive x, yes? And that's a negative 12 divided by negative 4? Positive 3. Now, I went from 4 terms to 2 terms. This is a term. This right here is a term. This is a term. So you got 2 terms. What do they have in common? Don't they have something in common? They both have the x plus 3. So now they're both going to give that away. So we're going to give away that x plus 3. So now, if this one, let me put that equals 0 over here. If this one gave away its x plus 3, what's left over for this one? If it, x squared, yes, x squared. And if this one gave away its x plus 3, what's left over? All right, so let's solve this one. Let's go. Let's do the whole work, I guess. X plus 3 equal to 0, because we already factored it out. And then x squared minus 4 equal to 0. All right. How do we solve this first one? Minus 3. And we're going to get x equals what? Negative 3. And we how do we solve this one? Plus 4. X squared equals 4. Now what do I do to get the x by itself? Huh? Square root it. Square root it. And if it's an equation and we square root it, it's going to be x equals what? And what? Got 2 answers. So, x equals negative 3 is an answer, 2 and negative 2. Now, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to graph it. 1%, remember the equation, x, the function. Are you guys 1%? Remember the equation and the function here? And I'm going to graph it. Y equals 1%. Go here. Somebody.
X squared.
X,
X cubed
x cubed
plus 3x squared minus 4x minus
minus
12.
12. Was that an answer? Negative 3?
Yeah.
Was negative 2 an answer?
Yes.
And was 2 an answer?
Yes.
All right. You do one. La, la, la. Three rational solutions again. All right. Let's go. Let's do number 4 now. You guys go ahead and do number 4. I guess you go do it like that again. So what should I put under it that you just know it? What should I? X squared? If it is one of them has a 1, it's automatically 1, then x squared, then that's gonna be x squared, take that out. What's gonna stay inside? X plus 2. What can I divide that one by? Negative 8. So put that over here. And then what? It's also x plus 2. And now, what do they have in common? And what stays inside? X squared minus 8. And we set it equal to 0. We're going to go the same x plus 2 equal to 0. So what do we do in the first one? So we get x equal negative 2. What do we do in the second one? Add 8. And what do we do now? Square root it. Square root it. X equals plus or minus. Let's go with just write plus or minus. You know that the square root of 8 is going to give you a decimal. Even you put that in a calculator, it's going to give you 2 points. Yeah, 2 point something, no? 2 point. It goes on forever. 2.8, no, forever. It never stops. So now this is rational. One rational. And it has how many irrational? 2 irrational. 2 irrational. So whenever you take a square root that gives you a decimal, it automatically is irrational. Um, okay. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Copy this down, and we'll be done after this. Let's go. 5. Just copy that. Use the function f of x equal that to answer the following questions. A, what is the left-hand behavior? What is the right-hand behavior? If it's asking a question, maybe it should have a question mark instead. What is the left-hand behavior? What is the right-hand behavior? Why don't you guys, let's stop. Let's just work it out. Let's work out these answers. So you got A, and I'm right here. I'm at A. So what is the left-hand behavior? Okay, what do third-degree functions look like? Anybody? Sideways S, I call it a sideways S, is a positive x3. So it's going to go like this, something like this. So what is the left-hand behavior? What's the left-hand behavior? Negative what? Negative infinity. Negative infinity. What is the right-hand behavior on the right? Positive infinity. Positive infinity, or just put infinity. Okay, B. Go ahead and write down B. Verify that x equal negative 2 is a root of the function. Write the statement by using the remainder theorem. So I would suggest here, whenever it says to verify that it is a root of the function, to not use that definition of f of something and whatever, the way you did that homework. A better way to do it is by doing the synthetic division, because it gives you more information than doing it the other way. All right, let's go ahead and do it. We're going to do synthetic division. What goes in the box? Negative 2. X equal negative 2, so negative 2 goes in the box. They're asking is x equal negative 2. So then the numbers that go after, what are the numbers that go after? That would be what? 1, 3, negative 4, negative 12. And how does it go?
1.
Bring the 1 to the bottom of the baseline. Then what?
Negative 2.
Times 1, negative 2 times 1 is what?
Negative 2.
Plus
1.
So it has no remainder, no? So we're going to say that x equals negative 2 is a root of the function. Because the remainder was 0. when we use synthetic division to divide. That's a lot of writing. When we use synthetic division to divide. Man, that's a lot of writing. That's enough. I don't want to write too much. When we divided x equal -2, or when we verified it using synthetic division, we got a remainder of 0. Okay, now part C. Now that you have verified that x equal -2 is the root of the function, find the remaining roots. Aren't the remaining roots going to be found right here in this one? Yes or no? Isn't it going to be found right here? So what power is this going to be? I'm going to write it down here. 1x squared. And then we're going to have 1x plus 1x. And then minus 6. How can you break this one down? Use what to break this one down? Do the what? What goes at the bottom of the x? What goes on top? What are the two numbers that multiply to -6 add up to 1? Is that going to be 3 and -2? Yes? So what are the roots? It's asking about the roots. X equals what? What that student did 7 years ago? -3 and what else? +2? So it says now to write the complete factor form of this function. What would be the complete factor form of the function? Well, it's going to be f of x equals well, one of them is going to be, move this over. What is it going to be? X plus what? By moving it over, no? To have it, it's going to be x plus 2. The other factors that come from here, no? So how do I write down the factor for this number? Or you can just move it over right there. What is it going to be? X plus 3. And then what? X what? Minus 2. Move it over back. X minus 2. So it has a double root actually. No, it doesn't. So it's x plus 2. And then x plus 3 and x minus 2. I am going to stop. That is